welcome to our next episode of the 406 Tech Talk. Today we're going to be talking about organizing your digital life.
What do you think? How's your first 2 weeks gone?
It's been great. Getting busier and busier by the day. People have been very welcoming and patient and gracious, and there's a lot of great things happening in technology out there, and I'm excited to be part of that and to help facilitate and train. And just been overwhelmed by just the reception and just the great teachers and staff that are out there. So
Good.
Feeling like I'm in the right spot.
Well, I know yesterday I ran into some teachers at Meadowlark, and they were just bragging Charles up and so thankful that he came in, said he treated them so kind and they learned so much. Aww. And it was really nice to hear. They're great to work with. I mean, that's the great reward, is knowing that, you know, working with a teacher then multiplies out to the students. And so right.
I think that's always the end in mind, is keeping those end
kiddos.
users and the learners in the forefront, even though you're not always directly working with them. There are times when you do, but knowing that you're giving teachers the tools to make a greater impact on their students.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that, that trickling to the students, because one of the parts of our process does involve a lot of the behind-the-scenes people, and one of them that's affected some buildings this year, and it has in the past, is Dan Hester. Meet Dan Hester, soft-spoken, beloved tech, who provides on-site technology support to 3 Billings elementary schools. I caught up with Dan on a recent day after a technology department staff meeting, one of the only places where you can not only find all the techs in one place, but where you can find them actually sitting and not standing on a ladder hanging a projector or wrapped up in cords.
Dan Hester, I'm the computer tech, a traveling tech in elementary schools. Arrowhead, Big Sky, and Boulder.
The increase in technology and devices as a result of the recent technology levy had a huge impact on the traveling techs. How did it most affect Dan?
For me, it's most like trying to figure out the easiest way to go about doing things. So it really gave me an opportunity to learn a lot of that Casper stuff and how we can use it to make setting up these thousands of devices way easier.
The teachers in Dan's schools admire his knowledge, his patience, and his willingness to go the extra mile. As a tech-savvy person, Dan finds things come pretty easy to him, but is there anything that causes him stress?
iOS devices, they're really difficult, like iPads. You have to set up each one individually, manage it individually.
This sentiment is expressed by a lot of the techs who have iPad labs in their buildings. So how can staff, teachers, and principals help?
But it'd be nice if they could assign someone to be in charge of their iPad, you know. I'll set them up. When they break, I'll fix them. But as far as updates and getting the apps and stuff they want, it could be a full-time job just doing that on those devices.
So when it comes to staying organized in your digital life, Dan has some great advice for all of us.
Don't be afraid to trash things. There's a document, you might want it, but then 7 years later it's still on your desktop and you're like, just get rid of it. You don't need it.
And there's one other thing that Dan and all of the traveling techs would probably like us all to understand.
Technology is not just this huge umbrella that we all know everything about underneath. Once we get into server stuff, they lose me just as much as you, so you just know we don't have the answer to all the questions, but we're pretty good about finding them.
And for anybody who knows Dan, they know that his pretty good is actually pretty great.
So just a reminder, if you want to see Dan or one of us, again, please use that help desk system. It keeps us organized,
yes,
especially in our digital lives, because it's a little crazy out there.
We're busy. When we pull up our calendars all together, we can share each other's calendars, and when we look at where we are, and in fact, when we share out with teachers, hey, look at my calendar and see if you can pick a date, they're always surprised how busy we are. Yeah. So that's a good reason to fill out a help ticket, so we can fit teachers into those spots there. We do accept a help desk ticket. We've been sharing them with the teachers.
Yeah, it's just a step that lets us know that you've seen it and that you've accepted that, and it goes to your calendar so that we can keep those things, you know, synchronized, and that we know you're expecting us without doing, you know, too much follow-up and you know, reminder emails. It kind of saves a step. Like, are we still on? Are we still going? So if we see that you've accepted those calendar invites, it's just a nice step for us to see that we're expected.
We're talking today about what it means to organize your digital life. What do you think that means, you guys?
That's a great question. I think, you know, as all these tools come into our lives, we have to find some balance, you know, not completely give up those sticky notes and plan books or things like that. So there's a balance. There's times when I need a physical sticky note on my computer to maybe go do something, you know, a schedule or check something online. And so I think there's a balance. Some of the things that I use, and definitely in this position, living and dying by my calendar right now.
Oh, gosh.
Just to keep organized and coordinating with multiple entities and people.
And we live
groups.
on each other's calendars
Yeah.
as well. You know, it's part of what we do every day is, where's Charles? How can Charles help me at this time?
Yeah.
And looking at each other's calendars.
What should I attend? And, you know, do I have time to do this on, you know, out on my own and get back to do this? And so it's definitely been a learning curve, and just, you know, turning calendars on and off and seeing where they overlap and conflict.
But I love that. I love that
It's
in my
awesome.
own calendar I can have multiple sub-calendars. So I've got a technology integration specialist calendar. I can see Shelley's technology integration specialist calendar, Charles, and we can turn on Desiree's. But I can also add a personal calendar so I can keep track of my own.
Right.
I do have a life outside of work events. My family and I created a shared calendar for our menu. So we can all input like, oh, I want to have chicken noodle soup on Saturday. So they can put that in there. And then we can use that to even build our grocery list from there.
And then anyone can cook, whoever is home first.
That's right. You did
I like that I can copy calendars. So if there's an event that I'd also like to attend,
Right.
I can copy that event to my calendar so that I know that's something I wanted to do. Even though I didn't create the event, it's something I'd like to go to and block out that time without knowing that it's, oh, that's the color for Shelley's calendar that I need to look at.
Well, and even to take that a step further, I liked that I was able to take just one piece of my calendar. So like last year in my classroom, I had a school calendar, and I could take that and embed that calendar into my website. So my parents and my families and my kids could see, here's the assignment that we have coming up, or we're going on a field trip this day, but they wouldn't see that I'm having shake and bake pork chops for dinner that night.
Right,
You know?
which I copied to my calendar is the shake and bake. So.
Next Friday night. Come on over.
Well, and all of our calendars are shared on our BPS-TIS site. So if you're ever curious about what professional development is happening, where are we, what are we doing?
Or where can we fit you in? Or how can we come and help you learn how to use your calendar?
It's all right there.
It's a great, just commenting on using it in a classroom, I've seen teachers in the district use it, and I use it. You can attach files to it. So if students are wondering what they missed when they were gone, if there's a handout or an announcement or a permission slip, you can create that separate calendar and have that feed out to your website or blog, and they don't see all the other calendars or other parts of your professional and personal life. So great way to keep things organized and share out.
We actually have had to use quite a few new tools, organizational tools that I wasn't really aware of before this year because I didn't have to be, but what would you say are some of the biggest ones that?
The newest one for me was Copy, which is really similar to Dropbox, which I've always used and loved, but Copy has a little bit more storage, same functionality. So we share all of our stuff in Copy together.
So Copy and Dropbox and Google Drive all kind of share the same traits. It's a cloud-based storage system.
Collaborative.
Right.
You know.
And easy. I like the Dropbox and Copy. You can drag and drop, and it's syncing across all of your devices. So if there's a picture and I want to show it, oh, it's in my Dropbox, and I can pull it up on my phone or my iPad, or even if I don't have it installed on a computer, if I'm out somewhere else, I can just get online and access those files as well. So it's saved me from the days of carrying 20 flash drives around, or which laptop.
Even though you still do that.
Even though I still do. They always come in handy in a pinch.
You never know.
In our TILT groups, Teachers Integrating and Learning Technology, we are teaching smaller groups of teachers to do the same thing, and I haven't shared Copy or Dropbox with them yet, but Google Drive, we do share files in Google Drive.
We do everything in D2. Yep.
I'd say our main tool that we're using with them is Weebly.
Hey, iPad Impossible, how do teachers organize their files?
I am so glad you asked. Let's hear from some teachers.
new technology that I'm learning, I'm trying to put it into a Weebly, just to a place to collect it so I can go back and then play and look. The first time I learn something, it doesn't always stick. Yeah. So I always have to go back in and refresh and look at an example of what I've done, or a link or something. So, you know, learning that great amount of new technology, this is the way I try to do that. And Drive now is helping me share documents with my fellow employees. So in our PLCs and things that we are doing, we're able to share a lot more information than we used to be able to.
Have adopted Google as my go-to, but that's only been in the last year and a half.
Very cool.
And the Google Drive is a lifesaver.
Google Drive.
Yes.
Awesome.
And labeling folders and organizing folders, and that's very helpful.
Life.
Ask Randy.
Ask Randy.
Just search and you might be fine.
You search, so you use the search feature.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It's been
Weebly.
Awesome. It's just putting everything in there and then explaining it. So I've noticed it. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding projects that they've been working on throughout the semester. So
Awesome. Meet Nicole Bogdanovich, an amazing teacher and Montana Young Business Teacher of the Year.
Also, I'm all about file maintenance to make sure that you have folders set up so that way it's a lot easier to go back through and find it.
And what's her favorite place to store files?
Is Dropbox, because that way I can access it anywhere, so if I'm at home I can go ahead and pull that stuff.
And how do our students organize their digital lives?
I use Google Drive a lot. Website, so since I have my own business starting up, I'm probably going to use it to create a website.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can you explain how you use Glogster as a digital bulletin board?
you kind of just pick something that you like and you kind of just make a collage of it.
Cool. So what are some of the things you put on there for this assignment?
I put a short-term goal and a long-term goal, and they both have to deal with what I want to do in the future, which is I want to own my own salon, so I put kind of my vision for it.
Thank you, Nicole, for being an innovative dynamo. That was really neat to see how those teachers are not only using it for professional growth, but also how Nicole is using it in her class.
Yeah.
So those are some great innovative teachers.
One thing I think that intimidates a lot of teachers is how to take all these really great things that you go to a workshop and you hear about, or you're part of Tilt and you hear about, and how do you manage all of those? Mm-hmm. You know, you put them into your lessons. Do you write down the link somewhere? How do you keep track of that? So we've actually got a couple of really innovative teachers who figured out a good way to just blend that into the way that they're teaching their classes. And one of them...
Yeah, Marne Burt. Oh, it was so fun to watch her lesson the other day. It was one of the actually most blended lessons I've ever seen. So she was using everything from Mimeo Interactive Whiteboard to Mimeo Votes to Edmodo to music videos, having kids read poetry, and it was all digitized.
Wow.
So here's a little bit. It probably won't do the lesson justice. It was a very cool lesson, and she used what was called blend space. Let's meet a blended teacher that's an awesome firework, Marne Burt.
I organize my digital life using Google. I have a Google Drive, and I have a calendar, and everything kind of goes in there, and then it's linked also to my phone and my iPad, and so I have files for different things in there. Cool. And very much professionally, I have all my files in there. I use Edmodo, and I set that up at the beginning of the year. I have everything they need in their accounts, and that evolves as we work through the year. We link that to their Google Drive, so when we do things in Google, they can easily access it through Edmodo. And then I've been experimenting with another learning management system called BlendSpace.
BlendSpace organizes a digital lesson to bring any subject to a new level of engagement. Mrs. Burt's integration is so seamless, her students don't realize she is using at least 5 tools in one lesson.
Here's what I'm going to want you to do. While we are listening to this, and you're going to recognize this song, okay? While you're listening to it, I want you to write down at least 3 examples of any type of figurative language that you notice in this particular text. And We are going to experience some questions. You're going to know right away if you got it right or wrong, because it's going to come up, okay? So here is some word choice from the poem. I want you to choose when I start it, okay? Does it appeal to sight, sound, taste, or smell? This one is kind of hard. Ask the next. Okay. This one should be easy.
Wait, are we on 9 now?
Mrs. Burt found BlendSpace online for free. BlendSpace allows you to take your lesson into the next level. As you can see here, you can add everything from quizzes to image files and even music, as Mrs. Burt did to teach figurative language. One of the best options with BlendSpace is the students have the lesson right in front of them at school as well as at home. Marne is truly an inspiration.
That's really cool. What a neat way to see.
She's a firework. She's an awesome firework.
That's great. I think too that I've seen teachers want to do exactly what she just did, but it's hard for them to keep track of what they're doing when, and having kind of a launching pad to put all of those and then go to it. There's some teachers at an elementary school, Ponderosa Elementary School, who started using PlanBook.com this year to actually write their lesson plans. So they write their lesson plans digitally, and then they're able to just click in there. They keep a window or a tab open, click in there and launch their digital tools right from there. So you want to meet them? Yeah.
Dee Hauff. I teach first grade at Ponderosa. Oh, I would like to talk about PlanBook. Actually, Miss Bookie offered it to us because she would like our lesson plans to have the Common Core standards on them.
It's been wonderful because the teachers send me their lesson plans. I'm connected to the site and I can go in and look from day to day, week to week, month to month, what lessons that they've taught, the objectives and the Common Core standards. It's very easy to link those Common Core standards.
It is very user-friendly. It allows you to share plans with students, parents. You can lock them. It's under password. It just offers so many options. If you're not coming in, you need a sub, you just add a few notes on that day's plan, and then you can take it, or you can email it to your partner, they print it out, you're good to go.
I would say that's probably one of the most convenient things because, you know, as busy as teachers are, it's sometimes difficult to lay that out on your desk, and it's difficult for me to get around from class to class and check lesson plans, and I just think that teachers are very professional and it's just an easy way to do it electronically.
The thing that I like about PlanBook.com is that I can easily put a link to a video or some other type of lesson from somebody else's blog right into my lesson plan, and I have my PlanBook open. I can just quickly paste that into a browser and use it with my lesson.
I like that I can edit it whenever I want to edit it. I like that I can add color to it. You know, you don't have to carry that big fat notebook with all your lesson plans. You can just pull it up and work on it. And you can do it, you know, iPad, you can do it on your computer. So it really is flexible.
So when the fall started, we had a couple people that had tried a trial version and they brought it forward. And then we decided to go, the license costs about $12 a teacher, but I think it's well worth it. I mean, a lesson plan book costs at least that much.
Yes, I would say the best feature is that it is so flexible to use. It offers you lots of options for adding in notes and making templates, and you basically go in, you design a template that you want for that particular day. Every day can be different, or you can have a template that's the same all year long. It's up to you. It's flexible for, you know, high school down to primary.
And instead of at the end of the year me collecting all of their plan books, I already have it on my computer and it will be saved for eternity.
This to me, if you wanted something to try, if you really are a novice, if you want to try something, this is the thing to try. And you know what? You have to just get in there and just do it. You can't get caught up on what you can't do. Just start little and do one thing at a time.
So One of the ways that that I keep organized, especially with bookmarks to things, is social bookmarking and annotation tools. And I've moved from Evernote into one called Diigo. And the tutorial I have to show explains how that's used. It's a great way to not lose track of your bookmarks if something happens to your computer or you upgrade machines. They're available in the cloud on the web, and it's just a great place to grab those and categorize them and tag them. And so here's a look at Diigo. With this 406 Tech Talk having a theme of keeping your digital life organized, I'd like to share a social bookmarking tool that I use called Diigo. It's available at diigo.com, D-I-I-G-O, and this is the website. I'm going to sign in here and go to my account, but one thing before I go there is you notice there is also a Chrome extension and other tools that you can add to your browser to make it that much easier to bookmark and share your resources online. So clicking on sign up, I have the option to use a variety of existing logins. So I'm going to log in with my Google account. And here I see my library of resources that I have bookmarked, things that I'd like to go back to or visit again or that I need to use quite often. There are also tags that I use, and it offers suggestions for tags when you bookmark a site. You can create specialized lists, you can search through your tags, and there are also apps available on the App Store and from the Android Marketplace. So you can add these to your devices, your mobile devices. You can have groups, so if you're sharing within a curriculum group or area, or a subject or a grade level, and then there's the greater community of people who have already bookmarked items as well. You can add things to networks and so forth. At each one, you can send them out, you can have an annotated link, you can edit the link, view it, and download those to different areas. If I browse to a web page, let's go to the BPS-TIS site, and I wanted to bookmark that using my Diigo tool here in my Chrome browser. When I click on that, I have some options. I can annotate and make markings, I can save it, I can read it later, take a screenshot, share the page, or search there. And so if I save this, I have the link, I can mark it as private, I can cache it, add a description, and add some tags. So I've done that. You also have an option to highlight things. So I have a set of tools here that I can highlight over things. I can add sticky notes that are either public or private so that when I visit that site again and I'm logged into my account, I can have a note that reminds me of something or some extra information. Or I can add that so that others can see it and can access it if they have Diigo and browse to the page as well. Back in my account in Diigo, and I'm viewing my library, if I go up to the user profile area up in the right corner, and I go to tools, I can see that there are several ways that I can add Diigo to the browsers that I use. So there's a Diigolet that lets you move it up to your bookmark area in your toolbars. You can have a web highlighter for iPad, Safari browser, nothing but bookmarking there, a read later. And then these are web apps or extensions that would be installed or need to be installed and added to your browser. So the Diigo extension for Chrome, Internet Explorer, and Firefox. Awesome Screenshot is a tool that's tied to Diigo where you can take screenshots of certain parts of web pages. And then these others, Quick Note, and Read Later, Fast. Your mobile applications are listed here for iOS, Android, and Quick Note on Mac. And then other options, just some ways that you can import bookmarks that you might already have from something like Delicious or a browser so that they're pulled right in and are stored. You can export your library as well, and there are some other options as you can see. The nice part about social bookmarking and online bookmarking tools is that they don't need to be tied to your computer. If you're using another machine or you get an upgrade or a different device, or if you're off somewhere attending a meeting or a conference, you can go to any web browser and log into your Diigo account and access your bookmarks. It's no longer dependent on your own computer and the bookmarks that you make there. Adding these extensions makes it just that much easier to do things like a screenshot, share a page quickly, access your library, etc. You can look at your groups or sign out from there if it's your computer. So just to look at one way that I keep my digital life organized using Diigo.
So Charles, you're always so eloquent with your words. Could you explain what social bookmarking would mean to somebody who doesn't know what it is?
Sure, yeah. So social bookmarking is the idea that you can share collections of web resources and things on the web in a social way. So you can keep your own collection private, but to kind of gain and glean the knowledge of others of sites that they like and have tagged. And so there are a lot of them out there, a lot of tools to do that. Delicious was one that came on early.
Would Symbaloo be one?
Symbaloo is a great example.
Pinterest.
All of those. All of these are ways that people can share resources, common interests, and keep track of things outside of just their own computer. Right? Yep. So we knew bookmarking when we started web browsing, because we could book things, but often people would lose those when they had an upgrade to their computer and didn't know how to save those out and upload them to another newer computer. And so that's kind of been solved by social bookmarking, and those collections can be shared and transferred and tagged in a social way.
The thing that I like about social bookmarking tools, whatever it happens to be, Pinterest, for example, because I rarely use it, but you can almost use that as a search engine within a search engine, because somebody's already done the work and narrowed it down for you. Right. So you can go to one of those tools and search within that tool for things that people have already found to be valuable.
So. Especially in education. I feel like we have a lot of great educators using those tools. Right. So.
And the tagging feature, and because we've talked about how our lives are somewhat busy, and our calendars are a little, but I can mark things to read later, and if I just want to make sure I tag it a certain way, like this would be great for cadre, or this is a good science tool, then I can narrow it down when I go search through my Diigo bookmarks.
Well, I'm excited to start using Diigo. I haven't done that one yet.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah. So if you want to learn about tools like Diigo or some of the other things that we've mentioned today, a good place to do that might be the upcoming Tech Fair.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is awesome when we dare dream.
Prize time?
Yeah.
All right, let's give away a prize. The winner from last week's show is Jim Noble! And Jim Noble is going to get a bag of tech goodies. There's all kinds of things in there, but one of them is a nice, sturdy, laminated but not shiny set of Plickers cards, so he can use those for his assessments in his class.
Valued at $30.
That's right, or more, because there's other stuff in the bag. But next week's prize is kind of a big one. This is a Kodak PlaySport camera. It's a digital video camera. And a gift certificate to the Yellow Bus donated by Tamara Spillum. So thank you for that, Tamara. And the way that you can win next week is to subscribe to the BPS-TIS YouTube channel. So, cool. And what are we going to talk about next time?
Are we doing project-based learning?
We are. So
okay.
Great time.
That'll be great.
Spring will be in the air, we hope, at that time.
Oh, yeah. Maybe the snow will be gone.
Getting around and doing these great project-based learning activities.
Great. Can't wait.
Thanks.
See you then.